Hey everybody, welcome to another video, and in today's video we're going to be fixing a Smokin It Smoker. And so if you happen to have one of these smokers and it's not working the way it should, you may want to stick around because this may be the solution. And so the problem we have is you have on the bottom left hand side a relay, and on the bottom right hand side you have the cable that goes into the unit to power it on. But that's also the same area that you have the heating element, and so that area gets really hot, and eventually in time, with enough use, one or both of those pieces may wear out on you. And so I called Steve over at Smokin It, and let me tell you, if you're considering buying a smoker, this is definitely a great smoker. Not only is it a great smoker, but Steve's totally customer service oriented. He explained to me how to fix it. He sent me a couple extra cables because the ones I have aren't long enough. And so here we are. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to get my smoker ready to go because I'm going to be featuring it on some videos here on our channel called Will It Smoke. We're going to be smoking some ridiculous objects, but I wanted to make sure that my smoker was, top notch. And let's jump into it. All right, so the first thing we did, we took the back panel off, we removed the insulation, and I removed that back little plating. And you can see right there the relay, it looks like it's a little warped. First thing you want to do is label all of your wires. That relay's got 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there on it, and so just whatever wires are plugged into the relay, make sure you label them 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's 4 little Phillips screws that allow that relay to just come right off. And then now I'm working on the other side. So now this is where the power cord comes into the unit and powers the whole thing. And I'm going to do the same thing for that. Notice the electrical connection, because of how hot it gets, melts that one little piece. And so what we're going to do is we're going to relocate that relay as well as the entrance to that cord so that there is no problem whatsoever. So we're going to unplug everything. Now that all of our wires have been labeled, you can see right here, I've got my little gaskets, my washers, and everything's labeled just like it was before. So hopefully we could put it back together. Now, before we go too far, it's important for you to know I'm not too mechanically inclined. I mean, I'm a chef, so really I'm skilled in the kitchen, but Steve told me that I'd be able to do it, and you know what? We're going to give it a run. So this is what the back panel now looks like. I've taken it all apart. I've set it on one of my tables, and I'm just going to locate that relay roughly about 8 inches above the cord holder. And I made a little template for where that relay actually goes into it. Steve told me the best way to cut into this stainless steel is with a Dremel, and so I found a buddy who had a Dremel and used a couple of his steel cutting blades, metal cutting blades, and it did wear them out a bit. This is some hardcore stainless steel, but I was able to get it no problem. This part was a little tricky for me, was getting the holes, and so what I did was I took some fingernail polish and found the hole, basically followed it all the way to the bottom and painted the 4 holes you can see right there. Painted the 4 holes that kind of let me know where to drill into the steel. And I probably should have gotten a better bit, but that's a whole different story. And so now what we're going to basically do, now that we have our hole for the relay and our holes for the screws, we're just going to pop that right into its place and screw it all back together. And so this part seemed relatively easy. Not really a problem whatsoever. The next hole I want to make is for the cord itself. So just taking a quick second to work it in right there. I'm going to clean it up with the Dremel. So I'm going to do the front, and then I'm going to do the underside with this little tool right here, and then go ahead and slide my cord in. There was a little plastic bit. There it is. The little plastic bit sort of keeps that cord secured. And at this point, I'm just kind of rewrapping it and putting it back together. So where I'm at now is the assembly, and I want to make sure that my wires are long enough. I want to make sure they're spliced and cleaned up a little bit. And so I am reconfiguring this little puzzle. I'm putting all the wires back where they originally went. He did give me 2 extra wires that were a little longer because the placement would have made the wires a little longer. And right here we're just clamping this down, and I'm using one of my kitchen torches to secure this little plastic piece to the 2 wires. And so I secured everything with some electrical tape. And at this point, everything's kind of going nice and smooth. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that first layer back of the insulation. And once I have that layer back of insulation, I'm going to move my panel to where it's kind of laying along the side. And all I'm doing is I'm connecting the wires from the panel to the wires from, there it is, to the wires on the unit itself. With my wife's help, I actually reconnected that little plate. I needed to hold the bolts, and she screwed it in from the back. And that's it. All the wires are reconnected. All the the ones go to the ones, the twos, the threes. Notice that there's no connection here. It's grounded, so the connection is actually a little bit higher. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to reassemble the entire thing, and hopefully we don't have too many pieces left over. All right, and so at this point, all the wires are where they should go. I'm just making sure that nothing's sticking out of the unit itself. I'm actually feeling really good about this particular fix. It wasn't that complicated. I could see where maybe not labeling the cables would have been a problem. But once I labeled the cables, it was sort of like putting a puzzle together. But now you can see we've got the power cable not coming in from the bottom. It's actually coming in from the middle. And the relay is just right above it. And so it should keep everything nice and cool. So if you have any questions about this, fix it. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. Click that notification bell. Hey, but thanks for watching. We'll see you later.